I don't know what the Yankees are doing. They don't seem to be doing anything right now. And all of this is preceding what likely is going to be a lockout in Major League Baseball. The NFL Players Association, MLBPA, the Major League Baseball Players Association, hired a new lawyer, new negotiator, not going to be fooling around. There is going to be a lot of, I think, stress going forward here with baseball once they get to, I believe, Thursday. And it's going to be interesting. But you have these flurry of signings. And I mean, the Mets came out with the guns a-blazing, man. And if they get Scherzer in here, that's going to be unbelievable. And I don't really care how much money Steve Cohen wants to give somebody. God bless him. Just keep spending money until you get it right, I guess. But it is a little bit, if I am a Yankee fan, I'm sitting here going, all this stuff is happening around the league. And what are we doing?
Brian Cashman sucks.
Well, hold on a second. I mean, I don't think that's fair, but I think...
Well, I didn't. That's Eddie hitting his buttons again.
Brian Cashman sucks.
See, that's not right either.
Right. Well, I think they're waiting out the shortstop market. You saw Simeon sign, but other than that...
Seager's going back to the Dodgers.
You would think that is probably what's going to happen. So then what? Is it Correa? Is it Baez? What do the Yankees do? I think that's the biggest question for them. And they're watching, other players like Starling Marte in a position of need because the Yankees could use an outfielder. They could use a center fielder that stays healthy and is productive. Go to the Mets.
But it's interesting. Like, people forget that the Yankees have Aaron Hicks.
Yeah, but
people
he never
forget.
plays.
But I know. But the other thing too is he does have a contract and he is signed, and maybe he'll come back and he'll play healthy this year. I don't know. But everybody also forgets that the Mets have Robinson Cano.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody's talking about, well, we're going to go DH. Well, Dom Smith is going to be DH, or Pete Alonso is going to be the DH. Well, what about Robinson Cano?
He should probably end up being the DH.
And then do you keep Javi Baez as second baseman?
No, I don't think so. I don't know, man. It sounds like to me that the Mets have identified a couple of issues both on the field and off the field where they're moving on from some guys.
All right.
Honestly, I think that Michael Conforto they looked at and they were like, not good enough. Not worth $100 million. See ya. I think they look at Marcus Stroman and said, maybe there's too many problems here with Marcus Stroman as far as a clubhouse situation. I don't think I want to bring him back. Javi Baez, thumbs down to the fans, sort of created an issue there, and you brought in Lindor's best friend who choked out a teammate during the season and then took his position. Maybe we don't want to bring him back. And that's sort of what I like about these signings, too. The three guys that the Mets brought in, and Scherzer obviously is the next level, but the three guys the Mets brought in on Friday, Canna, Marte, and Escobar. Those guys are known, you do the research on them, known to be great clubhouse guys. They're veterans. You don't have to worry about it.
Every time I hear the word Escobar, I just think of Pablo Escobar.
Pablo Escobar.
Yes,
he's
a bad dude.
He was a bad dude.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was a cocaine kingpin.
Yes, he was.
And he was. They finally got him, and they murdered him on a roof. If you watch Narcos,
exactly. I watch Narcos. That's why I always think of Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
But. The Mets are spending, man. I got to tell you, to get a center fielder, I'm happy. And if you get Scherzer in here and you put him with Jacob deGrom at the top of that rotation, I would think that'd be a pretty good way to start a season.
Well, of course. Now, he's 37
I don't
right
care.
now,
I don't care how old he is.
I'm just telling you. To give you some context, I want him to sign too. Trust me.
Look what Verlander got.
I understand, but he's 37. If they end it could be 3 years. Maybe they go 4 years to get him, and they also could be driving the price up for somebody else.
What's amazing to me is that what do the Major League Baseball players seem to have to argue about when it comes to sitting down for a CBA?
Well, that was
I guess it has something to do with minor league baseball and getting those guys paid, and there's a lot more to it than just the big money signings we're seeing. I know that. The devil, as they say, Gio,
is in the details. Yes.
And those details have got to be hammered out, and it is going to be interesting, to say the least, to see whether or not this thing is going to start on time and whether or not spring training is going to be here as normal or this thing is going to be an extended lockout.
Well, it is amazing. You have these flurry of signings. You could get a guy in Max Scherzer who's 37 who gets 4 years or 3 years and $120 million, and there's still going to be disputes as to what goes on, which is nuts. And, of course, I mean, not to sound negative about it, but wouldn't it just be fitting that the Mets have the best offseason they've had in years and years and years, and then all of a sudden there's a lockout and the season doesn't start on time because of it? How fitting would that be? But these two sides, they can't stand one another. And we got a taste of it in the COVID year in 2020 when they couldn't agree on how long the season was going to be.
Yeah, but I think you and I also felt like that the players had to back off some of their demands.
Sure.
Because, the owners were not going to be making nearly as much money because the stands were going to be empty.
And normally we're pro-player people.
We're always at least I am.
Yeah.
And because I understand that, all of these franchises have, quintupled in worth, net worth, over the last just 10 years. So, you can't be crying poverty, maybe unless, of course, you are the Rays or somebody like that or the Marlins. I can understand that because it is a regional sport. And, the teams here make a lot more money. Tickets are a lot more. The sponsorships are a lot more. The skyboxes are a lot more, as we saw at UBS Arena, which, by the way, was beautiful on Wednesday night.
Just off the charts. Gorgeous place.
It was really a gorgeous place, I have to say. And I do agree that the NHL should have shut down the Islanders. They probably should have shut them down earlier, but they had 4 straight home games, and all of those home games were sold out.
Yeah, in a new building that people had been waiting for. The team was on a road for a very, very long time.
It may end up costing the Islanders their season. I don't know. There's a lot of season left to be played, but they got caught into a really weird situation where they were playing with mainly minor leaguers, especially on the back end, and it was atrocious. It was just hard to watch. And I think some semblance of reality finally caught up to the NHL and shut their season down. I mean, when we left there on Wednesday night and the Rangers had won, I didn't feel like we accomplished anything. We got our 2 points. That was fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like there was a buzz in the building about the game or any of that stuff because the Islanders were a shell of their team.
Yeah, I mean, there were people that were excited to be there because, of course, it was one of the first games ever. But you saw those boxes. All you had to do was look at the luxury boxes and look down the row that we were fortunate enough to be in, see all of them packed. Well, to the gills and realize what a game was played.
Well, all the kids are home from college, right, for Thanksgiving. And then, everybody wants to be there for Ranger Islanders and all that other stuff. And, it didn't have the buzz to it. It was a game that I expected my team to win. They did. They did everything that they were supposed to do, and I don't want to take anything away from them. But I also know that the Islanders were a shell of a team and have been a shell of a team for the last, 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we did run into a bunch of important people there. We were actually talking about Steve Cohen that night because he hadn't done anything to that point.
Right, exactly.
We were saying, what's going on with this guy? And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, boom, here we are, boom. And he's doing everything that you wanted him to do. Now, this Scherzer thing, it seemed like late last night. It was about midnight or so where some of these tweets were coming in like they were closing in on a deal. But I'm still nervous about the fact that this could be a leverage situation.
The Dodgers are going to be right there. They're going to be right there with him, and then it's going to come down to, does he want to stay in L.A. or does he want to come to New York? I mean, that's really – and I do believe it's leverage between these two teams. There's no question about that. The other amazing thing is Marcus Semien got 7 years, $175 million from the Texas Rangers to leave the Toronto Blue Jays. I was thinking, somebody would give him maybe 4 years, maybe $100 million.
7.
He got 7 years.
7 years, by the way, guaranteed dollars in baseball. But let's get a lockout going. Let's lock these guys out.
It is really, it's amazing when you think about it. And then, of course, the Rays pluck Corey Kluber from the Yankees, so he'll give them, 4 innings an outing.
Yeah, right, exactly. And be out for 3 months and then come back.
Exactly.
Give you 4 innings again. Are you going to be devastated at this point if Scherzer doesn't sign because we've gotten this close?
I mean, I don't know who they're going to throw out there right now as a starting rotation.
You've seen some of these other guys go off the board, too, over the last...
Well, Gossman has gone off the board now.
Gray as well.
Right, so they're starting to drop like flies. And we all know baseball is pitching. I don't care whatever he said, but it seems like more so bullpen pitching than actual starting pitching. Although if you had a healthy Jacob deGrom and a healthy Max Scherzer at the top of your rotation,
should set you above some. I mean, that's what you want. You want one of those two guys going against a bullpen game in a critical playoff series.
Right, and it should take some of the pressure off of your bullpens. assuming that they're healthy. That's the thing. I
Yeah.
mean, you'd like to think that you can get 6 innings per guy, maybe 7 at some point, and then you have to bolster your bullpen. So there's still a lot of work to do. I'm still amazed at the Yankees. What are the Yankees doing?
Yeah, they're basically waiting out this shortstop market is what they're doing. I mean, and also, I mean, who knows how much flexibility that they have. I mean, clearly Steve Cohen has said, I don't care about the luxury tax. I don't care about anything. My first year was a total embarrassment as owner, and I'm fixing that. And I'm overpaying if I have to overpay, and we're bringing in free agents, and I'm going to destroy whatever narrative is out there that people don't want to play in New York because I've got money. And that's what talks.
We should have known that they were going to overpay once we saw Syndergaard get what he got from the Angels. And then, that was kind of like the first big domino that fell. And it was only a 1-year deal, but still at $21 million.
Yeah.
It's insane that he is on a 1-year prove-it $21 million deal. Good for him.
2 innings in 2 years.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So then you start taking a look at some of these contracts that are being handed out right now. I guess for the player wants some sort of future earnings, and he wants to be able to look forward to it, and he wants to be able to say, okay, I'm good. As opposed to coming out of the lockout, do you think there's going to be more money there?
No, because
I don't see it.
No, I mean, I think this is why you're seeing a flurry of signings. So you got until what? It's Wednesday?
Wednesday night.
I
believe Wednesday night.
So this is going to be a crazy couple of days. These players want to get in now. That's what they want. They want these deals. They want to get it in now. They don't want to mess around. But I mean, I guess if there's a lockout, they're not getting paid.
So Scherzer is on the Players Executive Committee, right? So he is knee deep involved in all of this. One part of his mouth, he's like bitching and complaining about the CBA. On the other side, he's getting ready to sign at the age of 37, either a 3 or 4 year deal at $40 million a year.
Well, he's taking care of the people that are going to come after him. That's what it is.
It's unbelievable
Yeah,
when you
I
think
know.
about it.
No, I know.
I mean, what has he got to bitch about? But I understand that a guy like him has to be an important voice in the room. He's a very bright guy, and he will be one of the highest paid players in the league. And they have to listen to what he has to say about the players that are coming from behind. See, that was the thing that I always got pissed off about our union under the direction of Gene Upshaw. I mean, what did he do for me? He did nothing for me. And, his claim that he didn't represent the retired players, that he only represents the active players.
Yeah.
I'm like, BS, we're all going to be retired players at one point in time.
Right.
You better start thinking about our retirement. So I understand like kind of some of the mechanisms and some of the arguments that go on. And in baseball, you get about 1,200 players. So every player has a different take on what should be the CBA and what it should look like. But it is important for guys like Max Scherzer to be at the forefront of these negotiations because players will respect that he is fighting for the next generation of players because this is most likely going to be his last contract.
We're going to be watching this all morning long. I know that it's going to be something that will be refreshing Twitter as much as we can. Last night you had closing in, finalizing some of these words that aren't final. There has not been an agreement yet, but the Mets are apparently close to signing Max Scherzer.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.